Hello, space-time travelers. This is Roger Jones coming to you once again from steamy downtown Pensacola, Florida. Uh, today we're going to talk about abundance again, and I have a very special guest with me today who will actually tell you the story. Uh, I have with me Professor Alan Jones. He is a Keenan professor at the University of North Carolina. Is very distinguished, uh, and he's going to talk today about water quality, which sounds really boring, but it's not. I assure you, it's not. So, without further ado, here is Alan.
Thanks a lot, Roger, for that lofty introduction. But folks, the real reason why I'm here is because I'm Roger's brother and I'm cheap. Oh, it's really nice to meet you, space-time travelers. And what we're going to do today, and to prepare you for this abundance project, is to take a little example of what Roger and I know. We grew up here in Pensacola, a lovely town, and we thought we'd take a little historical trip to see how changes in the abundance of water quality has affected the way we behaved in this town and the things that we did. Let me describe beautiful Pensacola. It's just an amazing place. It's got water everywhere. We have three bays. One is East Bay, and other is Escambia Bay. Both of those are fed by the rivers of the same name. We have Pensacola Bay. It's a very deep bay that's fed by maritime waters. It is the reason why the Spanish came here to settle the first colony, because they could bring their ships right up to the port. And this quality of water here is just fantastic. And so, as you can imagine, having great water meant great fishing. And my brother grew up fishing here. We just, many Saturdays we'd go out and catch 75 pounds of snapper and not even think about it. Over here at the most beautiful beaches, we have the mouth of the bay. It's a redfish as big as 25, 30 pounds. We'd catch them until, well, we never thought about it. Shrimp, just tons of shrimp in these bays. We also have other smaller bays. We call them bayous here. Bayou Chico is one, and others Bayou Tahar. These are lovely places. And you know, we're having such a beautiful place and such wonderful quality, it's not surprising then that we would have lots of great fishing and lots of good industry, because they depend on good water. And so we had factories and power plants on the rivers. Then, unfortunately, they would, knowing the quality and the abundance of water is so much there, they were able to dump toxins, byproducts and things not needed. But that was good for them, because it made it possible for making cheap products. So economy was great. They could make products that led to plastics, for example. And having a good economy and a good fishing meant that it was a great place to move to. And so what happened next is we had a lot of people moving here. They liked the water. And then, as you might imagine, now so many people moving here, we had a decrease in the quality of water. So you can see things are kind of working for and against each other. Good water can increase the economy, but it also increases the population, and now the population has an effect on water. How's that? Well, I mentioned Bayou Tahar. Many people moved into Bayou Tahar, and they had septic tanks, and so those septic tanks leaked, and they polluted the Bayou Tahar until a point where there was a time in which we were told as kids we couldn't swim there. Bayou Chico was a place that was polluted, and it had industries, for example, mahogany and teak were stored in that bayou. But at one point, we realized that quality of water was going down, and so you can imagine how the people reacted. So they began to think about what to do to preserve the water, how to control one of the best assets that Pensacola has is its wonderful water. And one was to begin to regulate the number of fish and the size of the fish. And so we had to have fishing license. So that's something that Roger and I never had to have when we were growing up, as a fishing license, and now you do. The population increase scared everyone, knowing that that was going to affect our water quality. And one of the things that we did which was really surprising to us, was that we limited the number of developments that could happen on our best kept secret, that's being our beaches. We also controlled the types of effluents that our industries could put into the water. And believe it or not, after about 7 years of all these changes in our behavior, the water quality came back, the shrimp came back, the fishing industry came back, and that's just the way it all works. So as we move forward into the abundance projects, we're going to be taking topics which are new, and we really need for your participation to explore the kinds of behaviors that would or maybe wouldn't happen or how they affect each other. With that, space-time travelers, I thank you very much and goodbye.
Thanks, Alan. As you can see, Alan is probably Pensacola's #1 booster. He told a story based on abundance, in this case, abundance of water. And he didn't really have to create a thought experiment or try to speculate what was going to happen next, because the story was something that occurred in the past. All he had to do was seek his memory on the topic, and he could say what caused what and what caused what, and etc., etc. Well, let's take his story and make an influence map from it. First of all, we had an abundance of water. In this case, much of it's salt water, a lot of it's fresh water, but we have a lot of water here. The first thing that occurred, starting in the 1880s actually, was that industry started moving in. For a couple of reasons. They could use the deep water port, the water, for transportation of lumber and coal and such. Lumber out, coal in. But perhaps more importantly, they could use the water to dilute the waste products of their processes, their chemical processes. And so this is what economists call an externality. It's where companies gain some benefit without paying for it. But, the water was abundant, and, it worked for some time. It generated many jobs, and many people moved into the area. So the population increased due to the booming economy. And basically, because of the waste from the chemical plants and from waste from the humans and degradation of wildlife and such from overfishing and the polluted waters from population, the water quality dropped. Well, by the late 70s or mid 70s, Pensacola was just not a pleasant place to live. The air was yellow from sulfur smoke. There were no birds on the bay. There were no shrimp in the bay, as Alan described. It was a very unpleasant place, and many people left, including me and my wife. We left in 1975, never, planning to return. So the population was stagnant or decreasing even for some decades. And so the decreasing population degraded the economy. The economy was stagnant. And it wasn't until 2004 when Hurricane Ivan rearranged much of Pensacola, including its sewage water, sewage treatment plants, and other things, that the city started turning into a proper livable city again. So it's actually quite nice now, as you can see from some of the photos. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much. If you want to meet up again in space time, hit the subscribe button at the end of this video or down below somewhere. And take care. Bye bye.